Good evening and welcome to Virginia's Views and Vibes. I'm your host, Ginny Gardner, and tonight it's my pleasure to have community activist, former counselor for candidate for mayor, member of the Post 440 American Legion, member of the Italian American Alliance National Chapter Legal Counsel, my friend Al Cecchinelli. Welcome, Al. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me, Ginny. I'm honored to be here, and I'm looking forward to talking about some of the stuff we're doing around the city and around the country.
Let's talk, well, now that you mentioned it, let's talk about the city. What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Sadly, they're overdeveloping it. It seems as though our elected officials represent outside interests more than they do the citizens of Newton, and it's a shame. You know, we've got a postage-sized lot that they want to build 3 units on. They're waiving all of the parking requirements so that developers can make more profit on their buildings by having less space for parking. It's a shame. You know, these people that are coming in to develop the city, they're going to leave with their money and leave us with the problems.
That's right.
You know, currently we've got a $1.3 billion unfunded pension and OPEB, which is other post-employment benefits package deficit. We have a liability of $1 billion+, and we're not addressing that when we should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy how the city's out of control.
And Washington Street, from what I see, seems to be at a standstill. I know they took and leveled the barn, the lot there. It's nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Nothing's happened. Did they just put that on hold, or any information on that? Or?
Well, the things I've heard were that they knocked everything down so that the property value would be lower, so they'd pay less property taxes while they were waiting. And now that interest rates are so high, they're waiting for them to drop a little because the financing is going to hurt their profits.
Absolutely. It's true. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Newton has changed, and I know that at one point we had 84,000 people, but they wanted to be up over 100. Any idea what it's at now? I mean, this was.
Well, I'm not sure what it's at, but right now they're looking at adding, was it 12,000 units, I believe, for around the MBTA stations.
Really?
Because the state is mandating it.
Yes.
Yes.
Which,
you know, I don't see how, with the service that the MBTA is providing, that they should be able to regulate our zoning. Right. You know, we're a sovereign city, and we shouldn't have to follow these rules if they're not right for our city.
And if you don't follow them, they threaten to pull funding.
Yes.
Grant money and funding. Yeah. That it's really it's a form of blackmail. It's very sad, and it's all over. I can't imagine being mayor of this big city, but with that, we have to. There's no compromise anymore. I used to feel that when we went to City Hall, our city councilors, our aldermen would listen to us and really consider what we were saying. I don't see that anymore. Anywhere, any city or town. It's sort of, the state comes in, as you said, and you need to have X amount of new housing, and then if you don't have it and you don't qualify, you will not get funding. And it's sad times. This is not the way living in the city, working hard, living where you want to live is supposed to be. And I agree with you. It's very sad, and I'm not sure how this is going to end for cities and towns. Not good.
And once it's done, it's done. It's a shame that people don't see that there's a a change coming to this city that's going to be
Yes.
irreversible.
Absolutely.
You know, currently we have neighborhoods, you know, we have our villages, and that's all going to be indistinguishable in 20 years.
And to just touch on this briefly, I understand that Newton is getting some migrants, and are they going to be sent to school? How is that going to impact the schools with migrant children?
Well, of course they're going to be sent to school. You know, it's the state law that if somebody lives within the city, we educate them. Right now, I know that many of the elementary schools are using trailers to put their students in for classrooms. We don't have the space. We're currently overcrowded. We currently have a problem with the teachers are looking at maybe work to rule, which is in theory a strike, because they haven't gotten everything that they're used to getting. Because again, our city government and our elected officials represent the teachers union before they represent our citizens.
Sad but true. But we're also going to talk a little bit about what we're doing at the Post. And you're an active member of the Post. What is your position there?
Well, I'm a member of the Sons of the American Legion. I didn't serve, but my grandfather did. He was in World War II, and it allows me to be a member. And I am currently the chaplain for the Sons of the American Legion. And I also book and run the Saturday Night Live at the Legion music and comedy series. We bring in either a band or some comics on every Saturday. We ask for a small donation. We bring in pizza. We've got 2 pool tables. We've got parking. So for $10 or $15, depending on the act, you come out, you have a good time, you have a little bit to eat, maybe have an adult beverage, you know, and you have fun.
It's a great time. It really is, because we go, when we can get there, we go and we check people in. And it is you know, it's a cheap date. It's a cheap date, and I don't drink, so it's very cheap. And it's always fun. There's always dancing, and my scarf, actually. Dan Fontaine, oh my gosh, he kissed me. Elvis, he's been at the Post. We did an event, the IA did an event on Friday night. He is, you can't go to Vegas and see any better. The talent you bring in is amazing.
Well, thank you.
We had comedy night with Mike Donovan, who has been on my show because he's written, I think, 100 and probably 25 or 30 books right now. Great historian. His last book was Vietnam. It was excellent, excellent. But anyway, you do great things there. Saturday Night Live, every night at the Post 440.
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday night, I'm sorry. Every Saturday night, Post 440, 295
295 California Street. Yep.
Downstairs, parking, as Al said, and then join, because it's a great thing to do. And you bring in some great bands. Who's this Saturday night?
This Saturday we actually have comedy with Tony V as our headliner, and he's a nationally touring comedian.
Wow.
Yeah, we try to get, you know, we have everything from local bands to regional, nationally touring, and internationally touring artists have been in and played our room.
You just got Peter Hackle.
Yep.
For what was that? Is that
Peter,
again excellent?
Peter Hackle is a Newton guy, and sadly his stepmom was was on one of the planes that flew into the Trade Center, and for years Peter had done the 9/11 concert for Newton, and it was to raise money and awareness so that they could build a park in his stepmom's honor. And when they finally finished that park and they paid all the stuff they had to pay for the city to take it over and took care of all of that, they heard what I was doing to help veterans at the Legion, and they called me and asked if there was a cause that we'd like to have them come in. In the first show we did, all the money went to Elizabeth Granfield Clinton. She's a veteran that's got Huntington's disease. It's a very sad story, but it's also a beautiful story. 13 and a half years ago, her husband was faced with the option of putting her into an institution or keeping her home. And knowing that keeping her home was going to be a long, hard road, he still chose to keep her home. I hope someday to find somebody that I love nearly as much as he loves her.
I know.
And
It's a beautiful story.
Yeah, the life
It is.
expectancy for somebody in an institution with Huntington's disease is 1.5 years. And so he's had her for 13.5 years at home.
Wow.
So all the money went to them. The second time we did it, all the money that we raised, we sent down to Sanibel Island.
Sanibel Island, yes.
Yeah, Post 123 that was destroyed last year in a hurricane, and now they're trying to rebuild it, and they're doing some fundraising, so all the money went to that.
I really think when that's done, the auxiliary, the Sons of the American Legion and the American Legionnaires, we need to all go and look at it and party there.
Yeah.
But anyway, you mentioned the veterans, and I came across with Cinder Selly, Jay Dwyer, George, and I went to the Pease Air Force Base on Sunday for the air show, and Sandy and I saw this young man, and it's the We Will Remember project. His name is Connor. He was 13 years old. And he asked his mom, all those people that died in World War II, how old were they? And she said many of them were very young, and they never made it home. They didn't have children, they didn't get married. So he started this project where he got the names of the killed in action that never made it home, and he has boxes and boxes. And all he asks is he replicated their dog tags. This, for instance, this one is Sergeant First Class Ernest Fontaine from Bristol, Rhode Island, who gave his life for our country 12/2/1950. And all Connor asks is that we take the dog tag, which I hope you can kind of see it. It's looking kind of white, but anyway, there's a dog tag here. Take it, use it as a keychain, hang it in your house somewhere, and just say, remember his name, so that we never forget the young people and all the people that served, in these wars, lost their lives, and that his name is always repeated and remembered. So Connor actually may be coming to the Post to show us and get people to adopt these names. So I'm going to say it again because I made the pledge that I would never forget Sergeant First Class Ernest J. Fontaine, U.S. Army, from Bristol, Rhode Island. And Connor will be with us. And in the meantime, if you'd like to contact Connor, it's he's on Facebook, We Will Remember, 501c3 nonprofit, Connor at wewillremember.us. And I think this is an exciting project that we're going to be taking on. So that's one of the things we're doing. And on top of that, you and I are involved in, again, Columbus Day.
Yes.
So that I got the email from former Commander Nick Pasquarosa, and correct me anywhere on this, we have decided the date would be October 9th, Columbus Day. We're going to have, what did we have last year? The rolling parade?
We had a rolling parade, and then we ended at the American Legion parking lot. We had some speakers.
We had some speakers, and some of the routes you went down. I waited at the Post because we were doing the second half, which was the speakers and the coffee, and the donuts and things like that. So I was waiting there, but you did some of the streets through Newton.
Through West Newton and Nonantum.
Really?
Yes, yeah. We went through West Newton, Nonantum. The Newton police were wonderful. They gave us an escort, and we couldn't have asked for more from them.
Yeah, it was very successful.
Yes.
Very successful. And so we'll be meeting again at a parking lot on Walnut and Craft Street.
Yep.
In the Ed Center building. And then you roll out at 10, and the end point is Post 440. We got permission today where we will have some speakers. And our committee, let's mention the people on our committee: Beth D'Amato, Genya and Bob Doherty, Donna Cottons, George Gardner, David Snyder, myself, Nick Pasquarosa. Who am I missing?
I couldn't make the meeting yesterday because I had car trouble.
I'm thinking in my mind going around the table. I think that might be it. Louise Savetti. So we're all working on this, and we're hoping to get some private funding because it does cost some money, but it'll be fun, and it's a nice way because we all still celebrate Columbus Day. Nice. We know we share the day, but and we wish we didn't have to, but we still celebrate Columbus Day. It is Columbus Day. It's still a federal holiday, so we celebrate Columbus Day.
And it's still a state holiday in Massachusetts.
It's still a state holiday. That's right. So that's our rolling rally. Then that's on Columbus Day. Then I know in Boston, the first, there's a mass at St. Leonard's. And they again, celebrate Columbus Day at that mass. October 2nd, we are at the State House, because every year, I'm trying to think who started Italian Heritage Month. If it was Cellucci, it might have been Paul Cellucci that started that. So every year, they start the first of the month at the State House. They have a brief ceremony, and that's at the State House on October 2nd, Monday. October 3rd, we are hoping on October 3rd to do our flag raising. Mayor Fuller so kindly and generously gives us the lawn, and we raise the flag. And she's done it for 2 years now, and we really appreciate that. We thank the mayor for that. And then in Boston, they're having a flag raising on the 4th at their city hall. So that's what's going on sort of with that. Let's look at some other things happening at the Post. Again, I want to kind of, and you may know more about this than I do. Army Air Force First Lieutenant Alfred Pizzella.
Yes.
You learned about that from Bob Doherty, is that correct?
Yes, I did. Yes, he was a World War II fighter.
Yeah.
And he was shot down in a aircraft over Romania, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his remains had gone unidentified for a long time.
Yeah.
And they finally identified him. Currently, he's at one of the Army facilities in the States, waiting to be returned to Massachusetts, where they already have a lot ready at the Cape Veterans Cemetery.
Bourne,
yeah.
Oh my, and I know I heard that the sons, of course, American Legion Auxiliary and the American Legion will be taking part in doing something, because he was, in actual fact, from Nonantum.
Yes.
He was 27 years old. I looked up his story, and he was in one of the big bombing raids and was shot down over targeting oil fields near Romania. And I think it says somewhere, after the war, American remains that were unidentified, it took 80 years. 80 years. Yeah. And 80 years for him to be identified, and he's coming back. They identified him, I think, in 2017. And again, he'll be coming back, and we hope to honor him in Nonantum.
Yes.
Because hometown boy, and he'll be buried in Bourne. So that's just another thing the Post will be involved with. And I kind of want to look at other things that the IAA is doing. You could talk a little bit about Friday night, my scarf.
We had a great event at the Sons of Italy in Watertown. We had Dan Fontaine III in, and he has a show called Viva Las Elvis and the Memphis Sun Mafia. Yep. And they are phenomenal. Dan has participated in Elvis competitions around the country. And actually, I believe he went to Canada for one, so around the world.
Wow. Wow.
And in Elvis, in the international competition, with 1,200 competitors, he came in third. Wow. He really takes it serious.
He's amazing.
He is.
He is, you know, if you close your eyes, really and truly, Elvis is in the building.
He really is.
Elvis is in the building, and every song is just so, you know, for me, I am taken back into, see, it's Elvis. And I talked to Dan before and after the show. We had our picture taken with him, but for that time that he's on stage, this is Elvis to me. And
yes.
He, at the end, if you're close enough, he will give you a scarf and give you a kiss on the cheek, which the scarf, and he puts it. It's so cool how he does it. He sort of puts it on his head and touches it, so you really feel like a teenager again. But he's great. And if you ever have a chance, yeah, Viva Las Elvis.
Yep.
And he's great. Dan Fontaine. He's on Facebook too.
Yes, he is.
He's on Facebook too. And see him now because he's going places.
Yeah, you're not going to see him in places as small as we have him.
No,
after a while.
Yeah, he's going places. So that was our Friday, and we did really well. It was a lot of fun. And thanks to the Sons and Daughters of Italy, that's where the function was. And we'll name our group too, the gals that helped. Besides you, El Cecchinelli, Dawn Amara, George Gardner, Jimmy DiStefano, Kathy DiStefano, George Gardner, I've got to think again, Florence Guadera, Marissa DiPietro, Beth D'Amato, is that it? And then we had Donna Cottons who came and helped us that night too. So again, you know what? It's family. And you know, Italian people, everyone is family. You help us, we'll help you, we're family. So it was a great event, and look for more on, I think on Columbus Day afternoon, the IA is doing an event at the Tall Ships in East Boston, and that will be fun. I think they have some talent, but look for that on Facebook as well. And then in the morning, do you know the Dante Alighieri in Cambridge always does a breakfast. It's free. They do a breakfast for Columbus Day. They do a nice job too. Other organizations that we do support and promote are Parandello Lyceum, another great event. President of that is Dr. Dominic Amara. In North End, the North End Historical Society does great work too. Yes. I was telling Al about this film on the 29th at, I'm going to read it because this is, if you can get into Boston and see this, Friday, September 29th, St. Joseph Society of Boston, the North End Historic Society is having him at the St. Joseph Hall, St. Leonard's lower level, basically, 3135 Prince Street, Boston. Doors open at 6, cash bar, filming, film screening, and you'll see the filmmaker. There's limited seating, so if you want to go to that, find the North End Historical Society on Facebook, or their website, I believe, is northendhistoricalsociety.org. But this is a great film, and I'm very interested in this. This is it's called La Porta del Inferno in Sicily, your hometown? Not exactly. But it's The Doors of Hell. It's a true story of sacrifice and love of family. The documentary chronicles the inspirational stories of some of the last surviving men who worked in the sulfur mines in central Sicily. These superheroes give us an insight into basically slave-like conditions in these mines and their stories. And they stayed to keep their family together because they could go to the United States, but they chose to, I guess, work in the mines to keep their family. And then at some point they immigrated, but they were treated like slaves, and it was a tough job. And true courage and sacrifice and love. So if you're so inclined, please go in and see this. They do some great things. And I'm seeing about 5 minutes. I'm trying to think what's next, Al. You know what? I do have one more thing. The Post-Gazette. I don't know if you get the Post-Gazette. If you don't, I'm going to give you my copy. The Post-Gazette is an Italian newspaper in the North End, and it was originally I wrote it down because I said I'm going to forget the original name. I think it was 19. Oh, come on, Ginny, you got to do this. But anyhow, it's the paper of that everyone gets. That's Italian to know what's going on in the North End. It's formerly La Gazzetta di Mass, the Gazette of Massachusetts, 1896. Started by the Donnarumma family, and Pam Donnarumma is still owner, editor-in-chief, and it comes out weekly, and she does an amazing job. She really does. I'm going to get you that.
Okay, thank
paper
you.
As a gift, because you've been so helpful to me. I'm going to write it down. You'll love it, Al. You'll love it, and when you meet Pam, you will just love the paper and fall in love with her. She is awesome. So the other things that are happening, let's see if I got through all this. Italian-American Alliance is also involved through Dr. Dominic Amara, Salem State College, a language program, and I think Milton High School. They're now trying to get donations. They have, I think, enough funds to get them through 2 years, and they're going to be raising some money. And again, teach the language, teach our culture. We have great food, great history. October is Italian Heritage Month. And then the other thing that we do, and we'll do it again in 2024, is we name 100 of the most influential Italian Americans. I happen to be so lucky that I was on the list the first year. This year I was able to nominate, I could nominate 5 people. But some of the people that ended up on this list are people such as Jeff Turco, state rep from Winthrop, Dominic Amara, Dr. Dominic Amara, Anthony Amore, who is helped Homeland Security,
Yes.
TSA after 9/11, great guy. Dr. Dominic Amara, as I said, Tommy DeMangela, Sandra Selly, and then James Amara. So those are just a few of the people that are on the 2023 list. We'll do it again in 2024. But it's a very prestigious list, and we're so proud of it. It should be coming out in the Post-Gazette this October. Look for it. And I think I have just, other than the 29th, then there's a parade in the North End, Columbus Day.
Yep.
And again, we'll push our parade here in Newton.
Yep.
Columbus Day, 9 o'clock we meet,
Yep.
and we start our rolling rally.
And music at the Suns.
Music at the Sun, Saturday Night Live, every night. Go
Every
on
Saturday
that website.
night.
Every Saturday night. Why do I keep
Yeah.
saying every night?
And
I
then
want it to be.
And then the first Wednesday of every month,
Right.
we've got some grant money from the Mass Cultural Council through the Newton Cultural Council. Last month was our last one with that. We've got an application in for more grant money. Hopefully we'll get that. But then on Sundays we also have another jam.
Really?
And that's every Sunday. We do ask for a small donation to help defray the cost of the band. We've got some
Downstairs?
downstairs from
At the
4 to
lounge.
8.
Oh, I did not know that. That's
Yes.
great.
And so
Sunday.
if you want to participate, you bring your guitar, your voice, your saxophone, whatever you play. There's a drum kit there that you can use if you're a drummer. And we invite people up after the house band plays.
Wow, and it has our one and only Kevin Mackman there yet?
Not on Sunday yet, no, but he's been there for the Wednesday.
Yeah, he does
Yes,
a great job.
He does.
He was there for Wednesday too?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
been there for
wow.
some of the Wednesdays, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we are wrapping up. If you have any questions, please contact me, Virginia Gardner, at AOL.com. Go on the Facebook page for the Suns or the American Legion Auxiliary and find out what's going on. Saturday nights, it's a blast. It's a bus, cheap date, best show in town.
And on Facebook, it's Saturday Night Live at the Legion.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, this was fun.